Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM here on a very early Sunday morning here in Melbourne. Of course, let's go across to our friends over in the US. And of course, we are heading to the state of Washington in particular, and of course on the West Coast. And of course, it's been with the Washington Huskies women's basketball team. And of course, they were on the road in Los Angeles, and unfortunately, they didn't come away with a win, but I'm sure they're going to bounce back because against the two Oregon teams this coming week, of course, both of them in Seattle. And of course, we've got Olivia and Darcy join us right now to tell us a bit about it. Thanks both for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Pretty tough road trip down to LA. Tell us a bit about the game against UCLA and USC.
Yeah, no, it was our first one after the COVID break, so we're pretty proud how we came out of it. Obviously, would have liked to get a win, but we're still early in the season, and we're really excited to be back home this weekend against the Oregon. So, yeah, really look forward to it.
You came up against, one of the Aussie players, a couple of Aussie players down in LA, because you got the Oregon teams that also have some Aussie players. How good was it to come up against some Aussie players after the COVID break?
Yeah, I think it's really fun. Honestly, it's one of the things that you get really excited about when you know you're versing a team and they have Australian players. It's really fun to just connect with them before and after the game, and also on the court. It's really cool going against girls that you've gone against in your juniors, and you're over in America in another country and you're going against them again, which I think is really cool. I
guess, how's the preparations been like to the game against Oregon, which is, I think it's later today, your time anyway, at home at Oregon?
Yeah, it's at home tonight at 7 our time, so it's 10 a.m. now, so just in a few hours. It's been good. We've had a good week in the lead up, and yeah, it's always good to play the Oregons at home, so we're really excited. I mean, back on our home court, we haven't played here in a while, since before Christmas, I think. So, yeah, it's been a really good week, and we're really excited to get back out there.
How good is to finally be at home, considering how long since your last home game, as you mentioned?
Yeah, I think it's really fun. I think it's cool as well because being at home, we have amazing fans who come to support us, and it's just, you really do get that home feeling when you're at home. So I know we're all super excited to get back on that court and see those people again.
As I mentioned, you got Oregon, who's got two Aussie players, both of them Victorians. So, Liv, I'm going to ask you this question in particular. Have you ever played against Elise and Shannon, who's playing for Oregon tonight?
Yeah, so I played against Elise a little bit when I was younger. She was always a bit older than me, but we were both a part of the Vic Country program. So I've done a few camps with her as well as Oz camps. So yeah, I've been in the mix with her a bit.
Darcy, I might as well ask you as well, have you played against them?
Yeah, no, I have actually at Nationals a few times, would play Vic Country with Elise on the team. So she was my grade, so I played against her quite often when we would go to Melbourne for tournaments. So it's really exciting to be back out playing someone that you know.
How much of an advantage is that going to be, knowing that both of you have versed against a fellow Aussie?
I don't know if it's an advantage per se, just because like so many programs are so different, and it's been a long time. I mean, I've been in college for nearly 4 years now, so it's been a long time since I've played at home. But it's definitely a bit of fun, and it's definitely good to see how much other people have developed over their time in college, because obviously you come in with a very different game to what you leave college with, and yeah, it's just really exciting.
Tell us a bit about your amazing coaches there at Washington.
Our coaches are pretty cool, to be honest. I think all of them are just cool in the way that they're really caring about you on like a personal level. They're not just there for the basketball. Like, it's much more than that to them, which I think is really important. But like, yeah, our coaches are amazing on and off the court, and yeah, really appreciate them.
Yeah, I second that. We love them. They just teach you how to be really good people and basketball players. So I think she covered it really well. We're just really lucky.
And, how have both of you gone personally in your game this season?
Yes, at the moment I'm a freshman, and basically this year I'm just taking on to just get my development done, just work on different bits of my game to keep just strengthening it and keep getting better and developing each day. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment.
Yeah, and I think me too. I mean, going into my senior year, there's still a lot of things that I want to work on. So I think there's always room for improvement, and especially with the new perspective with our coaches. So I'm just really excited to be like learning new things every day, because I think you can always get better.
Darcy, I need to ask you this question because you just mentioned this is your senior year at the moment. Also, you are eligible for one more season due to COVID. Are you hoping to take that extra year?
That's my plan now if everything continues to go the way it is. Yeah, with COVID impacting a lot of our season last year and this year, I'm really hopeful to have that opportunity next year, but obviously we'll take it as it comes. I want basketball to be a part of my life for the foreseeable future. So yeah, I'm really excited that the NCAA gave us that opportunity. So hopefully.
Darcy, you're from South Australia. Liv, you're from Victoria, especially Vic Country. Now, I know Vic Country in South Australia has some big rivals at Nationals. How have both of you worked together, being fellow Aussies, and especially rival states?
Honestly, I think it's kind of funny because I actually never got to verse Darcy because she was always that year above that. When I would head into 18, she'd be done 18, so I'd head into 16, she's been in 18. So I never actually versed Darcy head to head. But as sister Kelsey, we used to play a lot and we were rivals. So it wasn't too bad, you know, me and Darcy got along. There was no hard feelings there because we never actually versed each other. So it was cool.
I agree with that. And I think we have to stick together over here. There's a lot of American stereotypes that we're trying to defy. So it's always good to have a fellow Aussie have your back.
Sure.
Now, Liv just prompted me my next question I'm going to ask. Now, Darcy, I need to ask you this question. Now, I had a privilege to interview your younger sister, Kels, who's down at Utah at the moment. Now, of course, you do verse them. You do verse them on the road at Salt Lake City in early Feb. Now, I have to ask you, and I've already asked her this question already, how good will it be to hopefully get 2-1 up on the head-to-head with your sister?
Oh, that's definitely the goal. I mean, last year we split it between the two, which wasn't ideal, but I mean, it kept us both happy. But since we're only playing them once this year, I definitely hope we can get that win. But I mean, yeah, it's always great. That was one of the highlights of my season last year, to play against her and just to be able to see her over here. I mean, we grew up together, obviously, with the dream of playing basketball, and now we're over the other side of the world in America playing each other at such a high level. It's, yeah, as much as I want the win and definitely think we're going to get the win, it is always just really fun to see her thriving over here too.
Are you spewing that you're not playing her at home?
Oh, yeah, definitely disappointed that they don't come to Seattle this year. But, I mean, hopefully next year they'll come up here. And, yeah, the mountain trip's always a tough one with the elevation. But I'm just glad we get to see her. And, yeah, really excited for that game.
I know I've just asked Darcy that question, but Liv, you did mention you have versed Kelsey before. That Nationals and all that. So same question I'm going to ask you, Liv. How good will it be to beat her again when you eventually, this time at college level?
I think it'll be pretty good. No, all jokes aside, like I'm super excited to see Kelsey. I mean, it wasn't just that we played against each other at Nationals. We actually lived with each other for like 2 years at the Center of Excellence. So like she's a really good friend of mine and I'm super excited to see her.
But how did both of you get involved in basketball and why did you choose it?
I can start if you want. My parents both played professionally. I had a ball in my hand before I was even born. There's a picture of me in the local Adelaide paper with it right next to me the day I was born. So it was kind of a sure thing, but my parents were great and they didn't force basketball upon any of us. We had to choose it for ourselves, but me and Kelsey, obviously, and our younger siblings too, just fell in love with the game. And I mean, I couldn't think of my life without it. And I'm just so grateful that it's been able to take me all the places that it has. And yeah, I'm just really happy to wake up every day and be able to go play. It's what I love.
I think like similar to me, I was always this little kid who wanted to copy her older brother. And at that point in time, my brother used to play different sports, but he was playing basketball and I used to go watch him all the time. And when it came to the age where I got the opportunity to play basketball, I was like, yes, I'm going to try this out. I just remember my first game. It was just like the funnest thing ever. I just loved it so much. And ever since then, I was like, this is my sport. Like, I know I want to do this like forever. And ever since then I have, and I absolutely love the game. I'm a competitive person. I think it fits really well. But I think like the main thing that I love about it is just like the connections it's brought me with people, and like how it's just so cool to think how many like friends and relationships I've formed through basketball, like all over Australia and the world. I think that's just so lucky, and that's such a cool experience to have. And I'm very thankful for that.
What would be some highlights throughout both your basketball journeys so far? Now, I think I know, I'm pretty sure one of them might be nationals for both of you.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different ones and so many different teams that I've played on over the years. Obviously, maybe the nationals one you're alluding to is when South Australia won our first nationals in like 20 years, and we beat Vic Metro in the semis, which is obviously always a highlight. But I'd say my most recent two would be representing Australia in Guam at Oceanias there, which is just such a amazing opportunity. I mean, you always dream as a little kid of putting on the green and gold and going out to play for your country, and to actually live that opportunity out is just, yeah, I'll never forget that experience, and I'm just so grateful, and hopefully in the future I can do that again. And then I would say I have a lot of good experiences at college and good memories that come to mind for games, but probably last year playing Kelsey was a really big one for me, just to like see how far we've come and to be over the other side of the world. And as Liv just mentioned, like making all these friends and connections and playing against people that you've known since you were in under 14s is just such a great opportunity and just really exciting. So those would be a few of mine.
Yeah, I think nationals, all the nationals I've been a part of, I've absolutely loved. But I think if I had to pick some highlights, my first one would probably be the Centre of Excellence. I lived for 2.5 years. That whole program was so amazing. I literally loved every second. I made such good relationships there. Like I've gone out of there with some not only friends, literally like sisters. It's crazy. I just love everyone there. And then also recently, well, it's last year now because we're in a new year, but I was lucky enough to go to the World Cup for the under-19s Australian team, and we actually got silver, which was just such a cool achievement, and super proud of my team. And it was just such a cool thing to be a part of. It was really fun.
What does the sport of basketball mean to both of you now, especially now being over at Washington?
It means the world to me. I mean, I think I've kind of mentioned a few times, but just the connections and the friends you make and the places you go. I mean, I've seen so much of the world because I play basketball and through basketball, and I've met so many people that are going to stay in my life for forever, I hope. And I'm just really lucky. It just means so much. It's a good way to get to know people. I mean, it's a way that my family's been able to stick together, and we've have a lot of good memories going out in the backyard just playing basketball together. And it's just something that's been a part of my life for so long, and I'm just really I couldn't imagine life without it, and I don't think my life will ever be without basketball.
Yeah, I second that. I think just the best thing about basketball is just the relationships I've formed and how it's like enabled me to do that. And yeah, just the places it's taken me. I know it's taken Darcy places too, but it's just like so crazy to think like we came over here or in a completely different country. We went to the Bahamas not long ago for a tournament. Like when you actually just take a step back and look at everything that basketball is doing, it's crazy and it's so cool.
Might as well give your local basketball associations back home a bit of a shout out.
Yeah, I grew up playing juniors for Forestville Eagles. I actually started my career in a little club in Penguin, Tasmania, so I should give them a shout out too. But for most of my career, I played for the Forestville Eagles, and that's where my siblings still play to this day. So that's a big part of my childhood and life. So yeah, give them a good shout out.
And shout out, mine did my junior careers at the Southern Peninsula Sharks. Honestly, such an amazing club, really good family environment. But I do owe it to them for a lot of my development. They really pushed me and got me to the not only player but person I am today. So I really appreciate that.
So how much support are you getting from the Sharks and the Eagles for both of you from back home?
I just think it's really cool to have all the people that you used to, like coaches and teammates, to be able to, obviously with social media, such a big part of our lives, to be able to send messages and comment on posts. I know every time I do anything or get posted by the University of Washington over here, I always have some of the people from Forestville comment and say how proud they are to see me where I am today. So I think that's just, it's always nice to have people that have known you since before you made it, kind of thing. See how far you've come and to be able to thank them for helping you along the way as always.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I also think it's really cool that every time I go home, like I can always go back to that club with open arms. Like they're always there, and I'm catching up with people that I was friends with 4 or 5 years ago, or coaches who were coaching me. I think it's just always really cool being able to go home and go back to that space where you're always welcomed. Yeah, it's really cool.
This is going to sound a really silly question to ask, considering what both you've already achieved already in your basketball journey. But do either of you have any long and short-term goals in the sport of basketball post-college?
Yeah, I definitely want to play professionally. My goal is to play in Europe after I graduate, and then hopefully back in the WNBL one day. And obviously, ultimately playing the Olympics, represent Australia would be the goal. But as long as I can keep playing basketball for as long as I can, that's just really what I want to do. As long as I keep enjoying it, I just want to love the game and see where it can take me.
Yeah, 100%. I think just the key is I'm just enjoying what I'm doing, enjoying basketball. But yeah, I'm the same. I do want to play it for as long as I can because I just love the sport so much. And I'd love to go professional after. But yeah, wearing the green and gold again, or representing Australia at the Olympics would be an amazing experience. I think that's always been a goal of mine.
What would be your advice to people back home that should get involved in basketball?
I think my advice always to people, and as I've grown up, is just to do what you love and enjoy doing it. I mean, basketball is a great sport to make friends, to go places, to do all those things. But I think especially at a junior level, like don't put as much pressure on yourself and just have fun playing the game, and it'll take you places. Like, yeah, I could never have imagined that it would have taken me this far, just a little girl like playing Aussie hoops in the backyard. But yeah, just have fun and follow your dreams. And I mean, obviously work hard, but give yourself some grace as well.
Yeah, I back that 100%. I think it's really important to not lose sight of your enjoyment and really enjoy what you're doing. Otherwise, it's just not going to be as rewarding or as fun as well. But I think basketball is something that you can have a lot of enjoyment out of as well as working hard. But just remembering, like, a dream's never too big. If you want it, like, you can go chase it.
Finish off with a couple of light-hearted questions about your teammates there at Washington. Firstly, who had the most embarrassing moment on the court this season, and what was it?
That's a tough one. I can't really think of any off the top of my head.
I mean, I know in the last game we played, when we were coming to the bench, Missy went to sit down and the chair fell behind her, and it was like,
That's a good one.
That was pretty funny. It wasn't technically on the court, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the best one this year so far.
Everyone's been pretty good so far. Nothing too bad.
Nothing terrible.
So who's the comedian, the best singer, the best dancer on the team?
A lot of our girls think they're really good singers, so that's probably a tough one. Same with dancers. I think we put on a little show in the training room yesterday with about 4 or 5 of us doing a little a cappella. So
yeah. I think, yeah, a lot of the girls can hit some notes. I know Trinity and Nia, I always hear them hitting some notes. I think they're pretty good.
They do, yeah. Those two are some Missy also thinks she can sing really well. And sometimes she's hit a few good ones.
So is anyone into their TikToks, or are they TikTok famous yet?
There's a lot of girls on TikTok. How Alexis Whitfield and Marissa are both very into making TikToks together. And for a while there last season, Missy and Haley were also trying to get TikTok famous. Haley did get quite famous for a while, so it's good for her, but yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of them.
I always ask these next three questions to all the Aussie players that are over there at the moment. The first one is, how's the Aussie accent going around your teammates?
You can go first, Liv.
Yeah. Honestly, when I first came here, it was funny because Darcy was living in America. She was for like 2 years. There was a point where you did go home for a little bit.
Yeah, no, I haven't been home in about 2 years now. Yeah.
At this point, I was fresh out of Australia. Like, accent was so strong, and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, like your accent!" And then we're speaking to Darcy. She was saying how she loses their accent, but when we actually talk to each other, it's like our accent comes back. And then sometimes when we talk to some of our other teammates, it's some little words fade to be American. Sometimes the pronunciation of certain words fades. But then when me and Darcy start talking again, it's like Aussie as it can be. It's quite fun.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I was kind of disappointed because I feel like the longer I stayed over here, before Liv came, it was just me and Americans. So I was losing my accent every time I talked to people from home. But now it's been nice to be able to kind of pick it up again and hear someone from home. But yeah, I've definitely lost a little bit of it as the journey's gone on. But I'm hopeful that once I get home, I'll be able to pick it back up again.
Yeah.
Yep. No, Kels definitely did mention that you lost a bit of the Aussie accent.
I mean, it's been a long time, so you have to adapt, otherwise people can't understand what you're saying.
Yes, 100%.
So has any of your teammates tried to put on the Aussie accent, and how's that traveling?
Oh my God.
All the time.
Especially some of our roommates here. I'll be in my room and I'll hear them mimicking how I say no. I'm like, no.
I have to agree. Nia and Trinity over time have been really working on it. So it has its moments. A lot of the girls sound very British, but hats off to them. They give it a go.
So have you convinced any of your teammates to come down to Australia?
I try every single day. I've told them they all have to come and visit me at least once, and probably more than that. But yeah, some of them will be forced. They have. I've visited them all the time, so hopefully
they can come down. I agree.
Visit me. I feel like it's a 50-50.
Oh yeah,
a lot of the girls
absolutely.
Yeah, my freshman buddy Marissa, she's pretty keen to come down, so I'll have to bring her along with me, show her the Aussie ways.
Question I'm going to ask is, have you convinced any of your teammates that we have kangaroos as pets?
Oh, all the time. It's so fun. That's always something I do when I go overseas. It hasn't been super convincing to some, but at first when you tell them, they're like, really? Oh my God, I didn't know that.
We had some of our teammates convinced that we spoke a different language for a little while there. So I think they would be fairly believable if we told them we rode a kangaroo to school or something. So
with enough determination and hard work, you can definitely convince them.
Yeah, me and Liv are very believable.
I guess you can always get away with it, considering we're both here back home, Dramana and Adelaide. Do either of you have a pre-game superstition or ritual?
Oh, I've had one ever since I started nationals, and it's not that big one, but a lot of people know it. Is when I'm doing warm-ups and we start grapevine, or some people call it karaoke. I have to face the scoring bench for some reason. I can't face the other way. And it was quite funny. At some tournaments, my teammates would know that, so the whole team would face the bench because I know when they do that. But that's been one that I've just held forever, and it just sticks with me.
I don't as much. I've tried to. I mean, obviously we played on a lot of teams over time, so things change. But at the moment, I write a quote on my hand before every game to kind of nothing too serious, but just to appreciate how far I've come and how just the opportunity to play a game every day.
So considering we're getting close to game time at the moment, what's the quote for today, Darcy?
Well, one of my teammates, Alexis Griggs, actually gave me today's quote. It says, "It's time to make lemonade." I think that everyone's been dealt a lot of lemons in the last few years. So today it's finally game day at home. So it's time to make lemonade.
Very good. That's really good. I like that one. What would be your advice to people that should follow this amazing team, especially over this weekend against the two Oregon teams?
It's just a great program. We love being here. All the girls are so supportive. The coaches are so supportive. It's just a really great fan base to be a part of. I think obviously if you can be here in Seattle and come out to games, that would be awesome. But just from afar too, follow us on social media. We have a great digital team that posts a lot of cool things about us. And yeah, every fan is always welcome and we love getting to know all of them.
The weather at the moment over there, is pretty damn cold in the Pacific Northwest. How are both of you coping, especially Liv? I need to ask you this one anyway, considering both of you obviously Liv being freshmen. How are both of you coping with the weather conditions out there in the Pacific Northwest?
Oh yeah, it gets pretty chilly up here. It was funny, as a Boxing Day, it actually snowed a lot. And I've never really been a part of that much snow, like ever. So it was crazy to me. But I think I got a little bit of a test run living in Canberra for a couple of years. I was from Victoria, but Canberra, it was pretty cold up there. So I got a little bit of a warming into it. But honestly, it's not too bad. Some days you go outside and it looks cold. It's actually not too bad. But I've heard that the worst is not here yet, and it is going to get quite cold. So maybe I shouldn't get too ahead of myself.
Yeah, the worst definitely hasn't been here yet, but we've actually had a really nice winter. I mean, today it's beautiful and sunny. It will be a little chilly out there, but it reminds me a little bit of what we think Melbourne weather's like. It's always raining, but it's not that rainy. It just does a little sprinkle and it just makes you feel like it's raining. But we have a really good 4 seasons. I mean, summer was beautiful this year. It snowed, which was super cool. We don't get that in Adelaide. And yeah, it hasn't rained too much. So fingers crossed it doesn't.
Yes, thank you for reminding us about our Melbourne weather. But both of you, thank you so much for getting up your time to join us. Obviously, in the lead up to game time, just under 9 hours away now. And best of luck against Oregon. Hopefully you can bounce back with a win at home. And then, of course, you got Oregon State straight after that in 2 days' time. And let's hope all goes well. And I can't wait to see how it goes on February 4 against Utah. And hopefully you can beat, hopefully you can beat Kelsey and the crew out there.
That's the goal. Thanks so much for having us and getting up this early to chat.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
No worries. And that's Olivia and Darcy there joining us for the Washington Huskies women's basketball team. Of course, we'll put all the details up on how you can watch their games live. And of course, all of them are always live streamed. There's more on the Smash Sports Show right after this. Don't go away here on the 10th year celebration.